Hey, just wanted to make this little intro before we actually get into the video. This video was recorded way back in August, and I never finished editing it. So we're finally working on that. The reason we never finished is that while recording the video, my PC crashed, and I just never had the motivation to go back and re-record the rest of it. So we're going to be doing this in a two-part video. So part one is going to be what I recorded back in August, and we're going to talk about Module 21, except we will not be talking about the Bard class itself. Part 2, which will be coming out soon, will feature the Bard class and everything you should know about that. Although I'm not too good at its healing specs, so I'll need to learn a little bit about that before we can do the video. Anyway, I hope you enjoy the video, and I hope it is helpful if you've had any questions about Neverwinter Module 21, Jewel of the North. All right, well, I'm back. It's been a lot longer than it should have been, and Neverwinter Mod 20, Jewel of the North, has been released. You know what that means? Bards. Means we got the brand new Bard class, and I gotta say, I love it. I might be switching to this as my main. I might like this better than I like the rogue. That's saying something, because I really like playing rogues. And I know what you're thinking. Bryce, you're really late. Mod 21 came out weeks ago. It's almost already released on console. And you're right. I'm sorry. Life's just been a little crazy recently, so I didn't really have time or the energy to make one of these videos. But here we are, and we're gonna tell you everything you need to know about Neverwinter Mod 21 and the Bard class. And we might even get into a little bit of speculation as to Mod 21's new content, which should be releasing in a couple of weeks if the rumors are true. Anyway, let's get into it. So the major features of Mod 21, besides the Bard class itself, is of course the new player experience and the new leveling system. What used to be leveling 1 to 80, which took a while, has now been condensed to a 1 to 20, much more linear guided experience with a lot better tutorials than before. So yeah, it made my new player guide completely wrong and irrelevant now. But on the upside, it actually teaches you most of the stuff that I taught you in that tutorial video just in the game, where that info should be. But we'll talk just briefly about the leveling, how it works, and why it's much better than the old way. And before any of you ask, no, just because you are level 20 now doesn't mean you are any weaker than your old level 80 characters. I know that 20 is a lower number than 80, obviously we all know that, but that doesn't actually affect your character's stats or their overall combat ability. Your level 20 character will be and is the same as your old level 80, with no differences. So when you start up a new character, either a new bard or maybe you want to, play a different class, you are immediately thrown into the same intro cutscene and the same little tutorial intro questline, the Sleeping Dragon Bridge. They beautified it up a little bit, made it looks a little nicer. I'll give them that. Looks like they used the skybox from Sharandar, which I think was an interesting choice. Once you finish that, you will be immediately directed to a new building. It replaced the old PvP building, but since it seems like they are slowly phasing out PvP, take that how you will. The Adventurers Guild, which houses a number of vendors and begins many of your quest lines now. Now, stationed in here in the middle of the Adventurers Guild is Sergeant Knox. As before, he starts off most of the quest lines in the game, which is far fewer than before. And new cool feature we're going to talk about. All of these early quest lines and a few campaigns even have been condensed into what they are now calling adventures. Adventures are similar to campaigns, but are a linear quest line. If you open up the campaign window by hitting the right bracket key on your keyboard, right there under backspace, or you can get there through your quest journal if you are on console or whatever console hotkey there is, if there is one. I haven't played on console in so long. Anyway, in your adventures journal, you'll see that there are two tabs, adventures and campaigns. Campaigns are what you might remember if you played the game before. They've got the little like bubbles that you click and you put resources into, and they're all time gated. However, adventures are your main story quest. So down here on leveling adventures, if you're under level 20, you will only be able to see these. Those are your main story zones. So you'll start with Neverdeath, you go to Velisk, you go to Ebon Downs, you go to Icespire, you go to the Chasm, and you'll finish it off with the Whispering Caverns. And that will get you all the way to level 20. By the time you finish all of those zones, you will be max level. Now, the other fun thing about Jewel of the North Mod 21 is it is condensed Undermountain, Elemental Evil, the Dwarven King, which used to be called Underdark, the Maze Engine, and Acquisitions Incorporated into adventures instead of campaigns. So no more time gating, no more endless grind. You just play through the story of those and they're done. Best part is honestly Acquisitions Incorporated. I despised that campaign because of how repetitive it was. And now it's actually pretty fun. You go through a handful of quests and at the end you get all 4 boons. That is the other thing with these campaign adventures. You still get the same boons you would have got from the campaign. You just get them all at the end now. And for those, because I have gotten comments and I've seen them over on Reddit where people get lost. They lose whatever quests they're on, or they forget what quest they're on, and they just forget where they are in an adventure. You can now, if you open up that adventures journal again and go to the adventure, there is a continue story button if you have started it, which will immediately track the quest that you're supposed to be on and tell you what it is you need to do. So if you ever get lost, check that adventures journal and it will get you right back on track. We'll rise like giants, ready to fight together. You no longer gain experience points. Instead, you gain levels in what tabletop Dungeons and Dragons players call milestone experience. Milestone experience, or milestone leveling, is based on story completion. So as you complete specific parts of the zone, usually like a major quest where you go into what Neverwinter calls layers, little mini solo dungeons, you will gain a level. And you can see when you get to a quest that will award you a level, it'll tell you a level, and it'll tell you what exactly you get. With adventures out of the way, let's talk briefly about the Adventurers Guild. Honestly, the interior of which is one of my favorite building interiors. It's just so nice. Cozy, almost. It really I don't know, it feels like a room or a building that a bunch of adventurers would hang out in between their travels. And there's also nice touch. If you walk right behind Sergeant Knox, there's a nice big map of the city of Neverwinter. And in fact, if you look right over here, that is the Protector's Enclave district. And that little island right there, that's the Moonstone Mask. The more you know. Anyway, as I mentioned, you can find vendors in the Adventurers Guild for your seals, your general merchants, your glory stuff. That's what they call the PvP currency, right? Glory. You know, all your basic stuff. Mount merchant. Another nice thing, but it comes with the caveat of a bad thing that I don't like. One of the downsides of this update is certain zones have been sadly vaulted, which means they are closed off. Now they have said that some of them will be brought back as level 20 adventures. So zones like Black Lake, Tower District, Pirate Skyhold, and Mount Hote now, all gone, but they have said that all of the 4 of those zones that I just mentioned and Rothe Valley, all 5 of those zones will for sure be coming back. The ones they're not sure on is Black Dagger Ruins and Helm's Hold, because those 2 are already kind of have an updated version. Granted, the updated version I feel is worse than the original, but whatever. It's their game. But one of the nice things is that there is a new merchant called the Vendor of Histories who will sell all of the lore on those zones that you have lost. So if you're like me and a big lore nerd, you can go and gather any lore that you might be missing. Another fun thing is that in each of the questing zones, each of the main leveling questing zones, you can find this same NPC, and he will give you a short quest where he will tell you the story of those zones that are no longer with us. So that's fun, but it also comes at the cost of losing out on some really nice zones. I really miss Black Lake District and Mount Hote now, and Rothe Valley. Anyway, that sad news out of the way, back to the Adventurers Guild. And the final thing I want to mention about the Adventurers Guild, and probably the best feature, hands down, added in Mod 21, besides the Bard class, is the training room. This is a room where you can go and spawn enemies. You've got them all around. You can spawn them in weak, average, and strong varieties. You can also spawn a boss illusion, or if you're a healer, spawn injured ones to practice your healing. Other cool things are you can set yourself to have no cooldowns on abilities. If you just want to test how specific abilities work, you can set yourself to always have maximum action points if you want to test your daily. You can also set the ratings of enemies. So if you want to test enemies at different stats, you can set that from 5,000 to 45k. And I believe you can even bring in other people if you want to test group compositions and stuff like that. It's a really cool addition to the game. I'm really happy it's here. They also, for your main story quest, they use that training room to teach you mechanics of the game, like combat advantage, dodging, and stuff like that, which is amazing because they never taught you combat advantage before. They just expected you to know how it works, and I'm really glad they did that. All right, we've talked about the new questing, we've talked about the Adventurers Guild. Let's actually talk about what the level squish means for the game. So you now, as stated, only level from 1 to 20. Similar to how it works in tabletop D&D. Weird choice, feels a little weird in an MMO, but honestly, your level, once you hit max level, your level doesn't matter. Item level is what is actually important and what gates you from content. And your stats, obviously. one of the nice things about the way that the new leveling works is that you get something for your class almost every level. There are no levels where you get nothing. So you'll either unlock a new combat ability, you'll unlock a feat, you'll unlock a class feature, you'll unlock a new song if you're a bard. You will always be getting something whenever you level up. And you get your ability score improvements every 3 levels. But it does make the actual act of leveling feel a little bit more rewarding. It feels like you're actually being rewarded for getting a level. They feel just a little bit better. With the shorter leveling, it is considerably shorter to get to max level and get to the actual grind and where a lot of the meat of the game is. Leveling is now more like an extended tutorial to teach you how your class works and how all of your abilities work. The average and estimated playtime of just the questing, if all you do is you play through the quest line and stop playing the game, should take you around 12 hours if you are going at an average pace, if you're not like trying to speed run it. I've heard that get cut down to as low as 5 or 6 or maybe even 4 hours if you are speeding through it. But since it is no longer based on experience points and actually completing the quests, there is a maximum. It's never going to be shorter than that. There is a minimum amount of time it is always going to take. But it does mean that the storyline is just a little bit more concise. It's not quite as concise as I would have liked it, because I've thought for a long time that Neverwinter's story has been kind of meaningless. And it's kind of sad because it's one of the few MMOs with full voice acting, as cheesy as some of it may be. But I always thought it would be cool if, I don't know, if it had like a more concise story through at least the leveling, like games like Star Wars: The Old Republic or Elder Scrolls Online or Final Fantasy XIV have. But whatever. It's more of a, I guess it's more of a classic D&D, like, oh, you're going to go here and you're going to help these people and you're going to adventure. It's more, yeah, that's a good way of putting it. It's more adventurous. Anyway, I'm rambling. That is how the new leveling and all of that is. And honestly, I think it's a positive change. The lack of experience sucks. It is harder to power level alts, but also the new leveling is pretty streamlined and pretty easy to get through. So I think it's a positive change, and it's especially good for new players. So if you've never played Neverwinter before, it absolutely is a good time to come in. You'll get to the higher levels much faster. It's also easier than before to get at least a starting set of gear. You can now buy item level 975. Is it 9? I think it's 975 gear from the Seals Merchant. So you can get yourself started pretty quickly. All right, we're just going to talk briefly. The crafting of the game has been mildly overhauled since you no longer go to level 80. Crafting has now been reduced as well to level 20, which just means it's easier than before to get all of your professions leveled up if you wish. It's a minor change. Most people probably won't notice it, and Neverwinter's crafting has never really been the best anyway. At least I'm not a huge fan of it. All right, and finally, the moment I know you've been waiting for, the Bard. What is it like? How does it play? Is it worth making a new character or buying a character slot to play? Hey, Bryce from the future back. Just wanted to say once again, this will be continued in part 2, which will be coming out in the future, where we'll actually go in depth on the Bard class and what it does and how it's unique and why I think it's actually really cool. As you might have read in the video, I didn't actually indeed make it my main or my main alt. I am still running the Rogue. The Rogue just outputs much more damage than the Bard. The Bard is pretty low damage, but it's still a good class to play. Anyway, if you found this video helpful, if you enjoyed it, any of that, please leave a like, hit the subscribe button, ring the bell, all of that. We now offer channel membership, which is kind of like subscriptions on Twitch. You could pay a little bit, you get some cool emotes, you get early access to these videos, and other stuff, a special role over on our Discord channel. By the way, we do have a Discord channel. There's a link down in the description. Highly recommend you join it, especially if you have any questions for me. Feel free to go over there and ask. I am always happy to answer them when I can. Also, we stream on Twitch, twitch.tv/Bryce Loves Gaming, almost every single day, except for Saturdays. But Saturdays are slowly coming back, so we'll see about Saturdays. But basically, we stream every day. And we do Neverwinter, we do other MMOs. I've been doing a lot of Dungeons & Dragons Online, a lot of Arcade. We've been doing a lot of Sea of Thieves, a little bit of Elder Scrolls Online. So if any of those games interest you or you want to check them out, come on over to my Twitch channel. We also do a weekly Dungeons & Dragons stream every Sunday. And every month we will also be doing a special D&D stream where I get other streamers, other content creators, some that you probably even know, such as Ranger Reek, and I have a few others lined up, and we do a D&D one-shot adventure, and it's a lot of fun. So you should come hang out for those. Once again, hit the like and subscribe button. I hope this video was helpful, and I'll see you in part 2.